Bruce Lee's JKD Jeet Kune Do Straight Blast. Now, Sifu, I think this is one of the signature moves of Wing Chun or Bruce Lee. It's the move that I probably practice the most. I think it's the most effective. It's kind of like when in doubt, you straight blast, right?
Yeah.
And so now, there are many ways to do this. Maybe share with us how the JKD Straight Blast, maybe it's different from Wing Chun, or maybe similar to Wing Chun, or maybe also then how we can practice this on the basics of
the development of that blast is based off the entire arm and shoulder and the lats and everything else, right? It's similar to the chain punch. It's just a straight blast has a more psychological approach to it, right? It's a blast, right? You're gonna blast the guy into pieces, basically. So if you have that intent, exactly. And so it's just a way of looking at it visually, or at least you're imagining, and that basis is much more explosive versus saying chain punch. It sounds like a chainsaw to me. So it's not that it's anything majorly different. It's just the approach to it. But the blast, and this is a great way to start off a beginner, because on the first lesson, if you're teaching somebody, you want some tools right out the first
something they can
class, right?
And take on with.
Correct. Otherwise, I mean, you want somebody to be able to use it as they walk out of the door in case something happens. So the basis of this is learning, obviously, the Baizhong lead in one of the videos that we've already talked about.
That previous video, you can click on the buy button and check that out on JKD stance.
So if everybody would just stand in a Baizhong so they can understand that you could do the blast here as well. And the approach would be moving forward. So moving and allowing your hands to propel you forward, right? But as far as a beginner's basis,
maybe they start off with just like that.
Start off at a regular stance, like you're naturally standing.
Natural stance.
Everybody just naturally stand, good. And then what you want to do is step forward into the Baizhong position and do that a couple of times and see how well you feel. Try to get your weight distribution even, okay? Go ahead and back to your natural stance. So I'll call it out. I'll say 1, go to right lead, and I'll say 2, and so forth. Okay, go 1. Good. Back to the natural stance. Right. Again, there's time where you have to develop the skill around the arms or where they're positioned at. It takes time, so not everybody's going to get it, but you just work on it over and over. Ready? Again. 2. Good. Back. All right. Good. 3. Good. Now, try to punch before you leave that natural position. So your hands are already propelling you forward as you stand. Ready? 4. Better. Good. Relax. 5. Excellent. 6. And 7. Okay, remember, avoid all the weight distribution on that front leg. Try to even it out. Okay?
Because it's too heavy.
Yes.
Right, it's too heavy.
8. Better. 9. And 10. Okay? And this is just a visual for the audience can see, but really what we should be doing is hitting pads as we do this, and we can start taking it to that approach. Better to hit something than to just hit air.
And even we also, in terms of the fist, we do vertical fist.
Yes.
And why do we do vertical fist?
Vertical fist engages all the joints in the right position, versus here you're already rotating. You start turning into a corkscrew, but this actually covers your center as you do it and protects you here. Right, because if you turn it, then you're open. It allows people to go under you.
Like that.
Yeah.
Right. And also the alignment as well. Right?
That's right.
Like, so if you think about if they do it like that, you have the alignment, right?
Yes.
Not as powerful, but if here,
Correct.
solid.
Yes.
Right, it's the power.
Yes.
It's just body mechanics, so that's why we punch this one. And we hit with these 3 knuckles, right?
Yeah, you can aim for those knuckles, and you can do the top 2. It just doesn't matter. It just depends on how you're doing it, right? Some people get it to where it's really relaxed. May I use, Drake, can I borrow you for a second? So if you're blasting somebody, you're doing it this way, okay? And that, yeah. But if I wanted to take more of a hammer approach, boom, right? That's gonna nail it too. So it just depends on how you're gonna utilize it, because if I just controlled somebody, I went, boom, right? And this is where I'm going to take it and just continue going towards him without having to worry about going here, because I'm already controlling him, hitting and trapping at the same time. So this is really good instead of going here.
Then more, a little bit more like that.
Right.
Or if it's straight, like what you taught me.
Correct.
Then it's more this, right?
Yes. So if going back to what you were saying, this causes a little bit of power and a little bit of delay in between. There's a gap, right? So again, sacrificing speed for power, but structure and speed and control, this is preferable on a straight blast.
I also notice is when that kind of punches, not as good and bad, just the difference, right? When boxing, you have something that's like, if you're watching from this angle, you do a jab, okay, something's happening, nothing is happening, something is happening, nothing's happening, right? Something's happening, nothing's happening, right? But when you're doing street blast, something is always happening,
Yeah.
right? Yeah, it's much more difficult to block.
To your point, yeah, so you're filling all the voids possible, so there is nothing that they come in. And if they come in, if your sensitivity is high, you can use it
the
against them.
tactile and sticky hands,
Yes.
so, and it comes into play.
Correct.
Now for them, so for beginners, if they're practicing, I think they can practice just stationary.
Yes.
You should practice that.
Yes.
Yeah.
So just by, you could do a square stance, keeping your knees bent. This is solidifying your structure. So if you put your base down, of course we could talk about everything else later, but just keep the knees slightly bent. And again, keep your body alignment straight, okay? Not over, not too back, but keep your hips under you this way. And then just can slowly bring that arm out and making sure it's dead on center before the other hand leaves, right? And so what you're doing is naturally, again, to your point, something's always happening rather than.
Yeah, so a common mistake if on camera, you'll see that like some people, they punch this way.
Right.
Which is wrong because you see my center line's open, right?
Right.
Or they try to do too much of this. You have to do too much of this, then the structure is wrong, right? You don't want that either. Oh, some people, they might do it this way too.
Yeah.
Like there. If I'm holding a pad, if you're hitting it, if you hear like a flat tire, then you know then you're not doing it right.
Yeah.
So the pressure is full. It's not, we're not trying to scratch the guy.
Correct.
It's hit, right? So make sure when you're practicing, keep. And also you want to relax your shoulders. Because I noticed when I first practiced, I got so tense.
Yes.
And then it loses all the power as well, right?
Right, right. And you can start off, again, going back to when I was demonstrating with Drake, it's relaxation on the shoulders, and you're allowing this to make impact. So instead of just thinking that you're going to go through the guy with just the fist, this is making impact.
Yeah, that's a cut.
Yeah. So at the same time, you're doing 2 for 1 on one arm. So you're thinking 4. So, yep.
And then once they've developed that stationary, and then they can take a stance, and then the next step is just to take a step forward.
Yes. So you want to give it a try?
Yeah, sure.
All right, I'll call it out. Ready? 1. Good. Back. 2. Back. 1. Good. 2. All right, good. And just for the sake of stimulus response, may I use you for a second here? Okay, so now I'm coming to you. Do the exact same thing that you just did. Ready? Go. 1. Boom, boom, boom. Good. 2. Good. 1. Good. So anytime you see me move forward, you just respond by that action. Okay, now I'm not going to say nothing. I just keep it going. Good. Good.
So there you go. That's what you can do with a training partner, right? You can practice your reflex and do that way. And see when we're practicing, you hit the chin.
Yes.
That's the target.
It would be a good target.
The throat, right? Depends. Depends on the situation.
Yes, and we could get into that later. Absolutely.
Yeah, depends on target. So that's the straight blast. It's so difficult to master. I've been doing this for years, and I'm still finding like refinement and how to make it a little better. You have to learn to see how to put a whole body into it.
Absolutely,
how to do that all. So
right.
It truly takes a lifetime to master, but very, very effective technique. And you need to do thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands of them, right? So there you go. That's the JKD Straight Blast. A little bit different from the traditional Wing Chun chain punch. You can see the bond mechanics with the whole kind of look and feel is a little bit different.
Yes.
So it might look similar, but there is a difference. So comment below after you practice, see what questions you have. Make sure you turn on notification, hit the subscribe button. Make sure you hit the subscribe button because we upload a new video every single week. We have a series of JKD videos coming up. Check out all the other videos in the past as well, right here on this side. Until next time, be water, my friend.